Shabbat Shalom. How do we stay sane in a world full of turmoil? We might want to rephrase the question. How do we stay connected to what is deep and enduring when confronted with chaos and uncertainty? From the perspective of the rabbis, Abraham is our model. There is a midrash that goes beyond Abraham's hospitality, in which the angel Satan, the challenging angel, questions Abraham's relationship with God. And he basically says, how can Abraham make so many feasts, which he does all the time? He makes all these feasts, he invites all these people, and yet he has not made one offering to you. Okay, so Satan is talking about a time in which people showed their commitment and allegiance to God through the animal offerings that they made. Abraham didn't make one offering, and Satan says, how is he really devoted to you? He's challenging God. He's saying we have a paradigm that says that the way we acknowledge and give thanks is through sacrifice, and Abraham doesn't fit that model. Let's see if he really acknowledges you as the source of everything, if he'll sacrifice his son when asked. And God's response to Satan is, Abraham will do it. How does God know? How does God know that Abraham will make that sacrifice, even though Abraham has no previous record of offering sacrifices to God? He makes these feasts. So God loves Abraham, according to the rabbis, because he is a pioneer, because he is able to envision new expressions of morality and connection to God beyond what God can even imagine. There's a classic comparison in the Midrash with Abraham and Noah. Noah is talked about as an ish tzaddik, as a righteous person. But Abraham is even greater than Noah, because Noah walked with God, but Abraham walked ahead of God. Walk before me and be whole, God says to Abraham. Through Abraham's feasts, God sees that Abraham honors him in a different way. What is it about those feasts that allows God to see this and know this? Abraham never felt compelled to honor the status quo when it came to issues of values. And he expressed these values in the following way at his feasts. The Midrash teaches that Abraham had very different kinds of guests at his feasts, very diverse people with different perspectives, different worldviews, and he was able to welcome them all. People came to his feasts because they felt that who they were, what they thought, and what they represented were acknowledged and welcomed. I have no doubt that Abraham did not agree with everything that his guests said or did. Many of them were idol worshipers, but they were welcome. So Abraham showed us part of his service to God was to be in relationship with people who think differently. And as you've been hearing me talk about for over a year, especially in the political climate that we're in, it's so important to seek out, build relationships with people of different political perspectives, and to be like Abraham and one that seeks to learn, to be in relationship with different groups of people. It's also, I want us to think about this not just in person, but digitally. So much of us do not interact on social media or news sources with sources that are different than our own. We stick to our feeds that confirm our own thinking and our own opinions. This is not the service of Abraham to God. If Abraham was in the 21st century, I have no doubt that he would be subscribed to, everywhere from the New York Times to the Wall Street Journal to Town Hall Daily. He would have lots of different news sources. The other thing about Abraham was that he brought people close to God. Among the differences of guests at his feasts, he was able to take the conversation to a deeper level. He was able to move people beyond the surface and connect with what they truly valued. And I have no doubt that Abraham was more than an evangelist. He didn't try to convince people what to do or think, but he radiated his values and God's presence in everything he did. The kindness with which he spoke, the way he served people, the respect he showed them. His guests found God through Abraham, not in an abstract way, but in a concrete way through him. So we stay connected to what is deep and eternal in these times of chaos and uncertainty by making a choice to practice those values every day in how we speak to people and treat them, in how we deal with the inevitable hurts and disappointments and frustrations of life. We keep looking for the divine presence in each other. We make the decision to shine this light regardless of what anyone else is doing. Shabbat Shalom.